Hey, welcome everybody watching live, watching the replay. Feel free to ask any questions in the group chat. Tonight we're going to be talking about Taxjar and sales taxes and how to set everything up through Taxjar and what your options are. You know, Basically, it's really a nightmare to try and do it on your own. To pay I think $20 a month the Taxjar charges is well worth it. Because you have to figure out every state and every county individually from every sale, basically. And I think that's about our only option, right, Todd? Unless you use this tool.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple other ones out there, but they're not nearly as integrated.
And now, which I'm signed up for, in as many states as I can, is to be able to, they do the submitting for you too. So it used to give you the information and give you an alert every time you needed to do it. But now they'll automatically submit to most states automatically for you. There's an additional charge, I think, per state. But, again, it's one less thing that you have to do.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Todd, let's tell us about Taxjar.
Okay. Let me click to share my screen here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me start here. Can you see that, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the Taxjar software, I want to show you guys a couple of resources out there that will help you in getting it set up. First of all, I won't get into it in depth because it's kind of a contentious subject, but you will hear the issue of Nexus come up quite a bit. There's 1,000 different theories and opinions on Nexus, and I'll let Sean get into his if he wants to discuss it, kind of his viewpoint on it. I've talked to sales tax auditors for 2 different states, and I get different answers from them even. So suffice it to say, it's a very, personal decision for your business. You should talk to your accountant, your taxer, on how you want to approach it. The common consensus is that a lot of it's volume driven. So kind of my stance that I've taken is I've signed up to file sales tax in my home state and a state that I either have a lot of inventory stored or high sales, and I kind of adjust that as I go along. So again, do your research and kind of figure out how you want to approach that yourself. A couple of URLs which I will send to Sean on the posting that are useful. Taxjar.com/states. That has a map of the United States with information for the sales tax for each state. So we're in Florida. If you click on Florida, it will take you to some quick references, kind of what the viewpoint of sales tax nexus is on that state. The state sales tax links, just really got a lot of useful information that's all free right there online that you could read. Taxjar, I've never found anything wrong on their website, but keep in mind that they sell a service, and so it's in their best interest really to have as many people collecting sales tax in as many states as possible. So you want to kind of take what they say and filter that through your viewpoint on your own business. But states is one good useful link. They also run a website called FBA Sales Tax, I believe it is. Let me click over on the tab. Yeah, FBA Sales Tax. That's information for FBA sellers, and you can point your accountant to it as well. It's got 10 general rules. They're general rules of sales tax. It has a list of where they know of Amazon having warehouses. So if you want to take the stance that you file sales tax in every state that Amazon has a warehouse and where you may ostensibly have Nexus, you can go by map. Or if you want to take this just as a list and look up and see which ones you have inventory at, basically, you can use this map. They also have some general FAQs and then an overall tax rate map that shows the tax rate for all states. Again, this is stuff that you don't have to know the sales tax really if you use Taxjar, because they calculate all that for you. So let's see, close that. The dashboard is the main screen once you're in Taxjar. Let me pull this up. Okay. This is your main screen. I've only got 2 states selected right now. When you first go set up Taxjar, you'll set the integration to your Amazon account. They also integrate with Shopify and BigCommerce and a bunch of other websites. So if you sell multiple platforms, you can certainly enable that. But when you set the integration, it will present you the option to select which states that you either have Nexus in or you want to collect sales tax in. And you have to turn that on for it to keep track of the sales that were in that location. What Taxjar does in a nutshell is it integrates with Amazon, looks at all your completed sales transactions and returns, looks to see where the recipient's address was located, and then tracks how much sales tax was collected there, and whether or not it was taxable based on tax codes you sent. And then it compiles all the information, so when you go to file your return, you can either have them auto-file it, which is available in some states, not all. As you can see, it's not available in Tennessee, it is available in Florida. Or you can use it to file your own information. And you can set it up really for the interval that you file taxes, like I pay quarterly in Florida and Tennessee, so it's telling me when my next return is due. If you want to add more states, you start collecting other states, you can add them here. But it presents all on one screen. So if I click on my sales tax report, that shows me, basically an overall view of sales by county. Florida is a destination-based sales tax state, which means the sales tax that's due is based on where the recipient lives. So there's an overall state tax of 6%, and then discretionary sales tax of anywhere from, I think it's a 0.25% maybe, but up to 1.5%. So it will show you all your gross sales by county, the sales that were taxed, and I'll get back to that in a second, and then the discretionary seller tax collected, because with Florida you have to report that separately, and then it kind of gives you some totals and that type of thing. So when you go to file manually, if you don't want to auto file, it will bring that to a screen where it uses the similar terminology as on the form, and then it also prompts you to either use a pay form or takes you to the website to begin your sales tax form. All this stuff that sales Taxjar has added really in the past 6 to 9 months. They're very open to feedback. I've sent a lot of suggestions on the Florida sales tax return, because that's the first one I started in. It's near and dear to my heart, and they are happy to, if it makes sense, change the terminology or rearrange things so that more closely matches your filing process to make it easy for you as possible. So as you can see, they even spell out, excuse me, your gross sales and what that would be called on your form, how much you collected, kind of step entire process for filing your form. If you auto file, they automatically collect, how much you filed and store that for you. If you file manually, you can actually record the payment, the date, what tax period that covers, the state, your paid, your discount, that type of thing, and whether or not it's closed to paid full. So when you go back, you can look at the history for what sales tax you paid, keep tabs on whether or not you're up to date and paid, that type of thing. One other thing, getting back to the taxable sales information, they also added the feature where, trying to be helpful, they show what sales tax they were thinking you should collect. So like they'll show all the states where they believe Amazon has a warehouse, or where you may have shipped product. So they will list that separately to show you where you're basically shipping product, but you don't have a Nexus selected. Then they will also show you expected taxable sales and sales tax due and the difference. Don't let that panic you, because what a lot of that is sometimes there are tax exempt shoppers on Amazon. So if you have a sales transaction that you've set for to be a taxable item and it ships and those sales tax was collected, it will show up here. So definitely something you can kind of audit, review, and make sure it's accurate, but don't panic and think you've underpaid taxes, because more often than not, that's what's in there. For each state, they also show, whether or not shipping's considered taxable, which helps when you're doing your settings. and whether or not it uses the destination address for the tax. And that's really just for your information. There's nothing really need that you input there. But it will kind of show you for you pick and select this for the year. It will show you, really all your transactions and the tax collected. One other thing to show you, and it's often a confusing part for Amazon sellers, when you set up to collect sales tax on Amazon, go through your settings in Seller Central, you have to select the states that you're going to follow in, and then you also have to set several parameters like, what percentage, what you collect tax on. There's different settings. If you go to the FBASalestax.com, which again I'll include this link, there's a free Amazon sales tax quick reference guide that they will send you, and it's a PDF. It's free. They don't nag you. They're very good about it, and they basically go through showing you, what each state's rules are, kind of same stuff on the website. But they also have, let's see if they link to it. They will also have what to set each of those fields on in Amazon. So when you add, for instance, Florida or Pennsylvania, it will tell you what to put in each one of those fields, so you don't have to worry about setting up an Amazon yourself. It'll walk you through it. They also go through showing you how to get registered and give you the links to follow line. And where's the other one? Yep, setting up sales tax collection in Amazon. Again, like I said, they spell out how to do that for each individual state that's in there. And how to correctly collect with shipping and handling. So, on the previous screen where they were showing whether or not shipping and handling is taxable, they also show you how to configure that in the screen. So a lot of good resources, especially FBA sales tax, that will kind of walk you through the entire process for however in depth you want to go, basically. Taxjar is using their prices, and I think at the end of the year. So if you do sign up, there's a code for the group. But you can also, if you sign for an annual price, you can lock that in another term of subscription. So
we have a 10% discount for if you subscribe to the annual package.
It is 10%?
Yeah, we have a 10% off discount.
Okay.
They don't give out much.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There's also, it shows you your history, so you can see, what you paid and what period you paid for each individual states that you can go back and look to. Accounting screen is not really much set up. Really, once you hook them to your Amazon account, there's not much to do. You just basically tell them whether or not you use FBA. You indicate whether or not you have Nexus, and you can even indicate when you started collecting sales tax as Nexus or established it. Here's all their integrations. So they have Amazon. They have PayPal. So if you sell on eBay, they'll pull in your transactions from PayPal, Shopify, Magento, Etsy, Square, BigCommerce, Pixify, and WooCommerce. They also support CSV uploads. So if you sell on another platform that is not supported, you can connect that way. They currently only link to Xero for accounting packages. There's no link to QuickBooks or the GoDaddy option, which is escaping me now. But the other online sales accounting package they do not link to. So if you do use an accounting package, you have to do some manual calculations there. Plans and billing. I'm trying to see if they have the rates in here, if they're the new ones or the old ones. I didn't look. Yep. So these are the new rates, basically. Currently, so you can see I'm on the $833 a month plan, which was the old rate of I think $99 a year for basic. Now basic is $19 a month or $204 a year. So you'll get 10% off of that. It's based on transactions, and the way it works is they will move you up or down on a monthly basis based on your transactions. So if you're under 1,000 for 11 months out of the year and 1 month you're 500,000, then for the 1 month they will bump you up and then they'll drop you right back down, so you don't get locked into a higher tier. They're pretty fair about it. And one of the thing here, let's see if there's any questions. They also have a help portal where there's a ton of articles and suggestions and FAQs and support. So if you run into any issues with it, that's a great place to go. Competition, there is a free service that does sales tax. It's nowhere near as good from an integration standpoint, hard to use. I'm trying to think what the name of it is. You remember, Sean? Have you run across them?
The Outlook thing from GoDaddy?
Yeah. There's another company.
I mean, there's really nothing that compares to it.
No, there's one that they're free, which is kind of a day giveaway. That there's some kind of hook, but they're a lot more complicated. It's nowhere near as easy to file the tax. They don't have all the file, and they're affiliated with some political organizations that kind of nice. The name is escaping me right now. I actually looked at them and did a trial with them and was not impressed at all. But other than that, there really isn't any competition other than the other organization that's out there. That was one of the questions from the chat room. Who's their competition and how do they compare?
It's GoDaddy's online bookkeeping. We'll do a little bit, but it doesn't put it all on one screen with the information to submit, and it'll even give you a spreadsheet. It really doesn't. It's not as complete as that, and nobody else does submission to the states for you right now.
Right.
But GoDaddy is $3.99 a month. It was free for a while, but then they started charging. But that integrates right with Amazon.
Yeah. Yep. And I think the auto file's around $20 a month per state, roughly. Somewhere between 10 and 20, depending on the state, I believe.
It's different based on the states.
Yeah. So it's definitely worthwhile, if you figure out what your time's worth in some states. I did it manually in Florida for so long that the time savings from Taxjar, I think they even have a testimonial on their site for me from 2 years ago. The time savings was so staggering that, I never even thought about auto file because it's almost, I giggle when I file it now because it's so easy. When I first started selling on Amazon 4 or 5 years ago, it would literally take me up to 4 hours to file my sales tax each quarter because I had to go pull all my transactions that shipped to Florida. Then I had to pull the address, which doesn't show the county, it just shows the city. So then I had to look up by zip code which county it was and then calculate their discretionary tax. Compile all that in a spreadsheet so I could break it out and then file it. So once I started going to Taxjar, once a quarter, it's less than 20 minutes to file. And most of that time is just signing into the 2 different websites and cutting and pasting the numbers. So it is a staggering time savings, going from 4 hours to 15 or 20 minutes. And of course, as you multiply that out across states, if you're filing 10 states, then, it's a full work week if you're doing 4 hours per site. So this was the first software package that I signed up for an annual plan on. That's how in love I fell with it, because I knew there was no way I could do anything different. There just wasn't an option. So it is indispensable if you've made the decision for your business that you're going to collect sales tax, in the states where you either do business or have Nexus. And they also have a blog that's fairly useful if you're really into sales tax or just want to keep tabs on it. It has a lot of good tips, and they kind of keep you up to date on legislation and kind of what's going on in the business. So super simple package to use. So, obviously this is fairly short, dog and pony, but do you have any other questions or anything you want to see, Sean, or want to bring out?
No, I don't think so. Not on here.
Okay.
Yeah, and it all starts with basically, signing up to collect taxes. And, Nexus is, something that I was worried about, but now I'm not worried about it. So, I'm registered, I don't know, in 7 or 8 different states. So what I did was I signed up in my own state of Florida, and then I decided where most of my items were going. So at the time it was BNA 3, which is Tennessee. So what we did was, we signed up there, and I think next was Pennsylvania, and I think maybe Kentucky. And we just went from there. But, now I really probably wouldn't, I'm not going to drop the states, obviously, once I'm signed up. But, personally, I probably wouldn't sign up again for all of those different states. I just don't think that the Nexus is something that, really exists too much. I've talked to, I have my CPA has a PhD in accounting, and he doesn't feel that it's something that has anything to do with reality. It's not like Amazon suspending you. They're not going to come and take you to prison. At some point they may say, well, we're now collecting, you have to pay, and some law will be passed. But at this point, really it's not. It's for big companies like Microsoft or Apple, who has physical warehouses storing all of their items, not, selling people like us selling on a marketplace. And, we might have a few items there, waiting to be shipped. I interpret it, and my very smart CPA interprets it as, something that, we really shouldn't be paying for yet. At some point in the future, then, when some legal actions have proved that, we're required to pay it, then something might happen. But my feeling is that before that ever happens, some kind of national sales tax for online, business is going to come first, and then they will probably dole it out to the individual states. But at this point, personally, I wouldn't do it. Do whatever you think is best for your business, but definitely be registered in whatever state you're actually in. But beyond that, decide for yourself. Greg wants to know if there's a minimum for Nexus before filing is required. Now, Nexus, sales tax Nexus, in a nutshell, it just means that you have a physical presence in that other state as well as your own. So, it's really a shady area, and I'm not sure that, nobody has really a straight answer for it. So what I would say is these states will tell you that immediately you should be registered before you do your first sale in every state that you have business in. So the question is, do you have a physical presence in that state more than is there a minimum? The minimum would be, what's the minimum that you need to start filing taxes for in that state? And every state will tell you before you do business. So, if you were doing business in your own state, and you said, well, I don't want to file for sales tax until I do $10,000 in sales, or $1,000 in sales, or $100 in sales. So that's the only minimum that I think there would be. But every state is going to tell you, which really is the law, that you should be registered before you ever do business. But that would be if that was your home state. Now, if it's not your home state, then you just have to decide whether your business has Nexus there or not. And with Amazon, it's very hard to tell. They don't tell you. They're keeping the information hidden, and they're trying to avoid the whole situation as much as they possibly can, because they have a nightmare to deal with as far as Nexus and collecting sales tax and paying sales tax, and all the things that they're having to do in all those states as well. And I can tell you, Amazon, when they make a sale, aren't collecting sales tax unless they're shipping to that state and they have an actual warehouse in that state.
Yep.
So Valerie, which everybody should know, lives in Illinois. So until they built a warehouse in Illinois, if you bought something that was sold directly by Amazon, you didn't have to pay sales tax. And there's still many states like that. If they don't have the warehouse there, then they're not collecting sales tax for those states. So, I don't think if I don't have a warehouse there, then I shouldn't be, just because Amazon's holding on to an item for me. That's my idea on Nexus, and you just need to decide on your own if that's something that you want to get into. As for getting registered, there's a good book on that. It's called Introduction to Sales Tax by Michael Rice and Kat Simpson. And it's very cheap. It's about $20. There's an ebook version. I have the print version though. And it basically shows you how to fill out for every state where Amazon, had a warehouse at the time it was printed. So it doesn't have every state in there, but it tells you what what their ideas of Nexus are, what they think, and everybody has a different opinion on that. But I mean, that's not what this video is about. We're about showing you how to use the tools, but you need to decide for yourself whether or not you want to register in all those states. And Taxjar is now a flat $19.95. I just looked up. For every state you want to auto file in, and you don't have to do that when you're first starting out. You probably don't need to do that, but I do it, and because I just don't want to have to remember and go back and do and have to worry about it. I've got so much other things going on. The $20 a month. I'd rather just not be late. But you're going to get an email notification. You can log in at any time, and they'll tell you when you have to register. So when you're just starting out, just no need to auto file anywhere. When you just aren't paying a whole lot for it.
I found my FBA quick reference guide that I requested a while back, which was the link I was showing on FBA sales tax. And I was going to show you how that's laid out. One thing they do mention in the checklist I want to point out is you have to have a professional seller account with Amazon before they'll collect tax for you. So if you haven't yet upgraded to the professional account, then you have to do that before they will collect. But this walks you through all the things, and obviously go request your own copy because this is a couple of years old. It may have changed and they keep dated, but they walk in assigning the Seller Central, go into the tax settings, menu, tax codes, and then they kind of walk through kind of what's included, what the codes are for several of the codes, and then they get down to each state what settings you put. So this is kind of a colorized version of what's on the screen looks like, but it shows you for, say you want to start collecting tax in Indiana. If you're an FBA and you live in Indiana, it says you check this, you enter your number here and check these two boxes. If you live outside of Indiana, so if you're in Florida and want to collect in Indiana, it tells you which boxes to check. So this eliminates a lot of the confusion, especially like Tennessee. There's a custom rate that you collect if you live out of state, that they walk you through those settings. And again, please don't take this as correct. Request your own guide because this may have changed since I received it. But all those little nuances they've already researched and told you what to do. And this is for all the states where they're aware of Amazon having warehouses, are all listed there. So this is basically the jar or the guide that you get if you go to FBA sales tax and put in your email address. And again, it's free and they don't really hound you. So, and this is from November 2013. So, like I said, request your own copy and make sure you get up-to-date information. Let's see. I can't think of anything else with you. Like I said, this is so straightforward. There's not a lot to it.
Okay, great. Any other questions from anybody about sales tax or Nexus or using Taxjar? But get out and get registered. If you're not registered, you need to get registered. In your own state. There's going to be a lot of discounts. Many retail stores are going to, you're not going to have to pay taxes. Wholesale, liquidation. Basically, anybody who wants you to prove that you're a business, this is the only form you need to give them. I don't think I've ever given anybody any kind of proof that I was an actual business. Only the reseller ID or state tax ID or reseller's permit. It's called different things in different states, but whatever it's called in your state, that's what you want to get. You want to get your the permit to collect sales tax is what you want. Okay, thanks guys for coming, and I will see you. I don't know when, maybe Sunday. We're going to try and broadcast live from our meetup. I'll be speaking, Todd, and we'll have some other people coming in, and fun times will be had by all. See you then.